Just give you a little bit of information about myself and our company. Our company is Jim's Golf Cars and Utility Vehicles. We started in 1995. We started with about 50 cars in our rental fleet, and this year we'll be up over 1,700. We have a large variety of 2 passengers, 4 passengers, 6 passengers, 8 passengers, utility carts, beverage carts, and now we just made an ice cream trailer to go behind the beverage cart. So we'll have that in our booth here to show you also. So they have maid service cars and things like that as well. Our business is pretty much a 6 months out of the year business. I mean, we're like you guys in summer, especially the ones in Wisconsin. Summer is our main business deal, and we pretty much want to try to take the golf car headaches away from you guys. What we do is we'll bring you cars in, we'll rent you as many as you want, from 1 to 30, 40, 50, whatever you want to rent. We take care of everything other than flat tires and putting gas in them if they're gas cars. Checking the oil in them you're responsible for. If they're electric, we would like you to fill the water in the batteries maybe once or twice in the summer. And there too, you would be responsible for flat tires. Anything other than that, we take care of. You call us, say, hey Jim, we got a car broke down. We'll try to ask you look at a couple simple things. And if you can get it going, great. And if not, we'll be there with either a different one or we'll fix it on the spot. So we pretty much, we guarantee pretty much a 24-hour turnaround. If you have something that breaks down, we'll guarantee you we'll be there within 24 hours. If you really need it. If you don't, we appreciate it that you say, hey, we don't need it till Monday, Tuesday if it's on a Friday, but we know how important it is for you guys to make money as well. You know, some of the biggest problem areas in the golf car part, as you are well aware, are customer damage. The number one thing that we started doing in our onesie-twosie things is we started using sheets like this. What they do is they have each side of the golf car, and if you have, time is always of the essence. You have to take the time with your customer when they rent the car to go out with them and say, okay, hey, look this car over, mark all of your spots that you think are bad on here, and you go with them and just check it over with them. That way, when it comes time for them to check that car and they can't argue with you and say, hey, that was in there before, we didn't do it, you know, and things like that. That is probably the number one problem that we see as far as us renting cars out and as far as you guys renting cars to your customers as well. I would assume it's a problem. You know, the age that we see the problems with more so are the 25 to 35-year-olds. The younger ones pretty much behave themselves because they have to, because everybody's always watching them. But the older ones aren't really behaving because nobody's watching them. So, you know, that's where we see the most of the problems. What we do is we'll try to make sure they give us a credit card, but then again, a lot of them are maxed out if they're going to give you problems anyway, so it's not going to be a tough deal. We do have a lease form that we use. Ours is geared more towards the campgrounds, not the individual renter. So I did bring, I think, 1 or 2 of them along, but they're really not geared towards the end user. They're geared more towards you guys. Anybody have any questions? If you have any questions anywhere in here, don't be afraid to just ask some of them. You know, just pipe up and say, hey. The next area is, say, for instance, you don't know how many cars you're going to need in a year. What we will do, especially for first-year customers, we'll bring you as many as you want. Say you start out with 2. All of a sudden you see you need 2 more. It's really going well. All of a sudden a month later you see you need 2 more. We'll bring you 2 more. That's part of our business that helps you. You know, if you're not making money on these cars, say you get 5 of them right away, and 3 of them sit 3/4 of the month, they're not doing you any good. The only way this deal is any good is if it's good for you and good for us. You know, I don't want to see you sitting on cars that you're not using either, because it doesn't make you any money.
What kind of numbers are you talking as far as what it costs us to rent it from you and what I can rent it back to the next guy?
Onesie-twosie, we're renting them for $135 a month. We appreciate, you know, a 5-month rental. If you do it for less time, of course, the price goes up. If you only take them for a month or 2 months, then the price goes up a little bit. Most of the campgrounds are anywhere from $50 a day to $75 a day, and some of them are even up from there. But you know, those are some of the pricing areas where some of that stuff is in. Yes?
You got gas carts too, or just?
Yep, gas or electric, either or.
What kind of carts do you rent?
Ours are all club car.
Club car?
Yep.
With the seat on the back?
Yes.
You have a problem with when you turn sharp, the front wheel coming off the ground? Can you set your down pretty low, your gas carts?
You can, yeah. What happens with some of those is if the front wheel's coming off the ground, depending on what kind of car it is, of course, either you got to put heavier duty springs on it because there's too much weight on the back end is what's causing the front wheel to come off of the ground. And it's just not heavy duty enough for what's going on with it.
The seats on all those are mounted behind the rear wheel, which is a problem. If you get any kind of weight in the back, people weight.
Correct. But on a club car, we can put heavy duty leaf springs on them, and then you won't have that problem. The majority of the time, you will not have that problem.
And then your carts are all factory, all use the same key, right?
Yes.
Okay, because when we're running into trouble, we rent our own cart.
Yep.
We're running into cases where people swear up and down that they didn't damage the cart, it was parked at their site, and all our carts, all 32 of them, use the same key. So anybody that went to Amazon and bought a Yamaha key can run any of our carts. So we have no leg to stand on at that point.
Way to get around that is get a combination bike lock, you know, that'll come together and have four dials on it. Put it through the steering wheel of the car and through the handle of the seat, and then the only person that has the comm is them. And just give that with each car when you rent it out.
And make the responsibility to put that on.
Correct. And then, right, you tell them, okay, if you don't use the lock, it's your problem, not mine. If somebody takes it, you're the one responsible for it. And those are very inexpensive. If they want to take it, they're still going to be able to take it. I mean, you can break them very easily, but it's going to deter, I'm going to say, the honest crooks. You know, but those are very inexpensive. And for instance, we have a huge rental at Road America, which is Elkhart Lake at the racetrack. And there we have 500 cars out at a time. And each one of those is keyed the same too. And you talk about getting to be a nightmare when people take the wrong car. They all look the same. They're all beige in color. The only thing that's different is the number on the side. Well, somebody comes from the bar and jumps on the wrong golf car and takes off with it. So that's what they do there. They use these bike locks, put them through the steering wheel, through the handle of the seat. There. Now, if they can't open the comm, it's not their car. They got to go find the right one. So, and that seems to work very well. You know, in each comm, when they give it back to you, just tape the comm back onto it, you know, on a piece of paper and use it again the next time. Yes?
So with the electric carts, you provide the charging?
Yep, the chargers come with them. The biggest problem with the electric cars is you're going to need a 20 amp breaker for the majority of them. You know, and a lot of times people don't have enough power to begin with. And now if you have a charger that's going to draw 20 amps when you first plug it in, that's quite a bit. So that's the biggest downfall with it. But for campground use, you know, I think quiet is probably a #1 concern for a lot of you. Electric is the way to go. You know, it's just the answer. And they're only going to draw between 15 and 20 amps right away when you plug them in. And as they start to charge, the needle will slowly go down and they'll draw less amperage. So, you know, within probably an hour or two, they'll be down to 15 amps. And it'll take anywhere, if they're really drawn down on charge, it'll take anywhere from probably 8 to 12 hours to charge back up fully.
Toughest thing with the electric cars, because I rented them from you, was getting the people to get too pissed up at night to plug them in, and then when they die, they know because they start to stutter when
Yep.
they're dying. People don't care, they'll keep driving them until they get it the furthest away, and they come back in and say, the cart don't work.
Yep.
Did you plug it in? I had to plug it in with the charger. That was the only problem I had with the electric cars, was nobody could be smart enough to plug it in.
I know what some campgrounds have done to avoid that problem is make them turn them in at night. Everybody turns them back in at night and you charge them up right in one at the station up front. That's what some of it has been.
You said 135 per month, for like a 5-month lease.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Depending on how many you take, there's a little bit of a discount if you take like 10 or more, and then there's a little bit more if you take 20 or more, you know, so there is some discounts there. We do have utility carts too that we rent. You can get a regular golf car with a box on instead of the seat on the back. Those are priced the same as what the 4-passenger are. And then you can get like a regular utility cart, which the bed load capacity is 800 pounds. The box on it is 4 foot by 4 foot. Those go in the range of $3.25 a month on up, you know. And that depends too how many other cars you have. Some of that pricing can be adjusted as well. So. We do have maids carts that are available. There's some brochures on some stuff you can buy. We do have a plastic utility box that we made that's enclosed that can go in the back of a utility cart for housekeeping if need be. Right now we're just in the process of designing a new beverage cart. Our company that we sell for, Club Car, makes one, but they are just very, very pricey, and we're trying to keep some costs down on some of the stuff. So. But beverage cart, and we just made an ice cream trailer this year. It's got its own generator on, and there's a freezer on the trailer, and that's something that we're going to either be selling and or renting. So the price for renting, it's probably going to be about $200 a month. It's got a little Honda generator on the back that'll run the freezer, and something new that we're just trying. I think somebody else had a question over here. There is some beer, I think, in the corner. Is there some right behind you? There's. Please feel free to help yourself. Any other questions anybody have? Yes. Yeah, there's some back there. Yep. And if there isn't enough of them, let me know. And I think I got one up here. I can get some copies made too. What's that?
I was just asking if you had the sample little walkthrough thing.
Yep. Yep. Just checking the car.
Do you have another extra sheet like that?
Yeah, there's some in the back. Yep, there's some on the back table there, yes. And if there's none left, I can get some more.
So what do you do for the process of damages? So let's say somebody hits their own truck. Now we have the damage. We know it. How do we handle it with you?
What we do, the question was, well, how do we handle damage to carts? If you see damage on a cart, the best thing for you to do is call us up and say, hey, Jim, this is what happened. And if you can get a picture of it, sometimes we can give you a pretty close estimate over the phone. If it's more severe, that there's frame damage or there's front end damage where the tires are both going opposite directions, then it's something that we'll probably have to come there and look at. What we're going to do, we're going to bill you. You are responsible for billing the end user. You are my customer, and then from there, you have your customer that way. So any damage that's done to them, I'm going to bill you for. You're responsible to pay me, and then your responsibility is to get it from the end user.
Is there any type of insurance?
No. I have tried a bunch of different things. There just is nothing out there. You know, a lot of people will charge you an extra $50 and tell you it's insured, and then you don't worry about it, and then they have to either turn it in under their insurance or they have to eat it. You know, but other than that, I've checked with our insurance agent, and there just is really nothing out there. You know, they can get, a lot of times they can get it on their homeowners. You know, that they can do, but to just insure a single, yeah.
And I take all that info, like, make sure you do it everything. Because a lot of times you will get a credit card, and if they don't pay with that credit card, I call to make sure that credit card's good before we do. Because we've got it. And it's come back damaged.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
An issue that I came across in the past is our staff sometimes ranges from 14 on up. Our rule for anybody renting our golf carts or seasonal that has a golf cart is anybody driving has to be at least 18 years old. Even though state of Wisconsin, you can get your license at 16, you want them to have 2 years experience. Well, then they look at my 14-year-old staff member driving a cart because they're working and delivering firewood or pizza. Yep. They're like, well, I know they're not 18. So I guess I'm just reaching out to see what you guys have dealt with regarding that, because I don't like breaking our rules, but I also need them to I want them to help the guests, so I don't know.
You need them to do their job.
Right, and quickly and efficiently, so it's like you're not gonna have them carry 2 bundles of firewood on their shoulders up to that
And
side.
you're covering for driving any vehicles you have at your campground.
But I think some places maybe had them do like training. I know they would allow a 16-year-old, even a family renting a golf cart. They would allow 16-year-olds to drive golf carts as long as they
We
went
have
through
to have
campground
valid driver's
training
license, valid driver's license.
and valid license.
And if you're under, between 16 and 21, we take a picture of their license, and we have them on the waiver, their parents sign that they're responsible for them. We give them a wristband which goes on the left hand, so then that person is not gonna get stopped all the time. You know that that
See,
person
that
has
was
been
the other
checked
thing too, yeah.
and was put on the waiver.
Okay. Okay.
You know, and I think ways around that also is you can tell them, hey, we trained these people to drive our golf cars, plus they're covered by your insurance for liability and all that, where somebody else is not gonna be. You know, I think those are all answers that you can give them as well. You know, when they come up and say something about it. You know, say that we've trained them to be able to drive. So,
And you only do golf carts?
yes. Yep. Pretty much the, you know, anything you would want in a golf car type vehicle, we can get you. Or we can make something work. And you know, and if it's something out of the ordinary, don't be afraid to ask. I mean, we're not afraid to try and tackle anything. You know, it's just, if you need something that's going to work a little bit better for you in a certain circumstance, tell us what you want it to do, and we can try to make something work for you. We're not afraid to customize any cars for anybody. I mean, if depending on whatever you want a different style box on the back. We've made some where they wanted a box for a vacuum to stand on the side. We've made some of those on some of them. Some of them wanted a luggage rack on the front for hauling luggage around on the front of the car and on the back of the car. So we've done some of that stuff. So, you know, there's a lot of different avenues that we can go with anything, you know, and we've been in it a long time, so we pretty much can get anything you want or do what you want. Yes?
A couple issues that we ran into in the past with the golf cart, or the electric golf carts, is that a customer has already rented it for the weekend and it's Saturday afternoon. They drove it all Friday night and they had it Saturday morning, didn't plug it in Friday night, and so then they bring it in the front of the store where we have our electric pedestals, which is where we store them, and they plug it in over there and they go have quite a few drinks and they might be over by the pool or an activity, and then they come back, forget it's plugged in, drive off, pull the cord, rip the cord out of the charger. So we've had that too, so I don't know how to get around that, but I would say like even at night, we changed our policy where they had to bring the golf carts back by the time the store closed. And that way we could plug them in, make sure they were charging, but then we had kids in the middle of the night going and unplugging them. So in the morning, we'd get down there, they weren't all fully charged, and all the golf carts were rented, we didn't have another one to give them. So that was a problem that we came into as well. So that's why I like the gas carts. But I don't know, I mean, if you have a place to, a shed or something to store them, I don't know, but I think that's, I don't know, it was a headache.
When I had the people, when I went out and demonstrated how to plug it in, I always had the pedestals, the charger, for whatever reason, our cords always seemed to be plenty long. I made them loop it through the steering wheel and plug it in because it plugs in right in the middle, so you just reach it through the steering wheel, so you physically, it's looped. So there was one way that I've never had anybody rip it out with the cord.
And on a club car, the car will not run if it's plugged into the car yet. So if the cord is plugged in, the car will not run.
They were easy goes.
Yeah, on the club cars it is that way. But then again, sometimes they'll catch them in the windshield frame or something else too. But, you know, it's, unfortunately that happens. You get a few banged up all the time. Yes?
Would you say that a daily rental is the most common or the best way to rent them?
I think that would be best answered by some of these people out there, daily or weekend, you know.
Yeah, we have different prices for everything. Weekend is $250. And then they have to bring it back every night by before dark, because we purposely get ones without lights on it. We usually only get like 2 with lights for our bands and stuff like that to have. And that's always a battle, people get mad, but I'll tell you what, example, people come out of the bar and they're shit-faced, well guess what, that's usually after 7 o'clock, for the most part. So we have a lot less damage that way, and we also do these check sheets that he gave you, that we don't do them with the customers when they come in. I pre-do them all before, every night I go out, our staff goes out and checks every single cart when they bring it. I don't care if they're renting it the whole weekend, we check it every night. Because something could have happened in the instance that somebody took a cart that it wasn't theirs or they got mixed up, and this way I can reassure them, oh no, this is your damage, you know. So every night we do check-ins, they have to be in by 7, they're in a gated area, they're locked up so nobody can take them, nobody can, you know, so it eliminates all of that. Because I mentioned it, I said, you know, we could probably charge even more if we, you know, let them have them overnight. Well, it's a shit show at our campground when people drink, so unfortunately it's not safe, so we opted out of that and it's a lot better. But we do find that we give them a price break when they rent for the whole weekend. So they bring it every night at 7, they can come back at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. when we open, they pick it back up and have it all day.
How much do you charge for that?
$250 for the weekend.
How many carts you talking though?
We have 13.
And what about just a day?
A day, if it's a half day, we do 45, if it's a full day, it's not.
Well,
Would all of you that have rentals want to share what you charge?
We charge, I'm with them, then you charge $150 per weekend.
150 per weekend, $35 a day.
Yeah.
It's
You get more for
75 a
cars
day.
on site.
75 a day, 140 for 2 days,
What?
170 for 3 days, 210
Oh,
for 4
wait,
days.
250
So
is
it
probably,
goes down.
sorry,
More
150.
days.
More days to get them.
I'm sorry.
Crazy, right? Crazy, right?
Holidays, what we do,
We
and
allow
we do not
more for golf
allow,
cart than we do for camper.
like calling in and making the reservations, they all get your golf carts, no, first come,
we
first
can
served.
tell them.
So they call
If you are a busy campground, it can be a very good revenue generator for you.
Simple.
You know,
And most of the people are great, and the ones that do lose, they don't really care. They say, well, I gotta turn it back in the morning anyway. Well, that's quite an attitude to have.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have lights on any of ours, so we, on purpose, we don't want them.
So they got a park.
the majority of ours all have lights on. Yes. Yep. I don't know that there's any that don't, to be honest with you. Yeah.
But even so.
I'd rather have somebody running around through the park with the lights on instead of somebody running around trying to sneak around without the lights on.
Yep.
Do you guys, have you looked into, I'm sure that you don't yet have a GPS tracking system on that?
We have looked into that. The biggest problem with that is you get charged per vehicle. And it just, for us, it's just, it's not feasible.
How many cars did you say you have?
1,700.
Interested in buying one? If I've developed one, but it works on the campground I buy. So you don't.
I'd be interested in looking at it, yes. Yep, I'm always interested in
And
it.
then you feel that in the office, in theory, I can disable a cart by clicking a button.
Right.
And the cart is gone.
And that technology is out there for the golf course as well now. Yeah, you know, they have
You gotta
GPS
pay
and,
for cell phone service. So-
Yep,
so
yep,
you're looking at
correct.
10 or 15 bucks a month, and
Yep.
usually you can't turn it off in the winter.
Yep.
Yamaha's is outrageously priced.
Yeah.
You guys can hear this stuff firsthand. I have some of my previous, they own a campground and he used to be in our campground, so I got campers here and stuff. They shouldn't hear it. So, but you get to see them not lying, man. There's some woes here, you know, I mean, you get to see this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had instances where, like you said, if you have somebody that you have people that are loaded on the cart, and I'm like, oh, well, he's like, I'm having a hard time getting this thing to drive, and I just reach underneath the seat and flip the switch off, and he's too drunk to comprehend that I just put it in tow, and it's not gonna run anymore, and he's like, well, don't work now. Oh, I'm sorry, you know, I guess we'll take care of that in the morning, you know, but he's not comprehensive enough to drive it.
Right.
I mean, that's, you play the little trick games with all the cart stuff.
You know, and I'm sure you people have seen it all. I mean, you're at a campground, people are there to have fun, and unfortunately, the golf car is a toy, you know, and they treat it that way. You know, they think I rented that, I can do whatever I want with it. And that's the unfortunate thing about it, no matter where they are. You know, and let it be a racetrack, let it be anywhere. They all treat them the same way.
I guess I'm interested to see how many of you pre-reserve golf carts versus not pre-reserving, because we have always let them pre-reserve, and I think that's great that you don't, because if they cancel and you already had it on hold, even though it was paid for, you give them the money back generally for that golf cart. But then I've also heard sometimes you get all of the money up front.
Yeah.
You know, so like reservations, we have them pay in full up front, and then that way they're not, you know, that way they have more money to spend when they're in the parks. So I don't know.
Can you have a show of hands of how many prepay?
We take reservations for 2 or more days. If you want it for just Saturday, say for a poker run or whatever, you gotta take the chance that there's gonna be one available.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
have
we
to
take
rent
all
it
that
for the
money up
weekend.
front.
Oh, you guys let them be in poker runs, so they're not allowed to be in anything, nothing. And we have security, so we really enforce that, but again, that's money that, you know.
Right.
Yeah, you can create activities in your campground to encourage even golf carts. That's the racket. So golf cart parades, that's a great one to throw on your Mardi Gras weekend. And people decorate their golf carts and drive around, and people like, I don't want to be left out, so they rent a golf cart and decorate the golf cart and drive around. You know, Halloween's, of course, with trick-or-treating, everybody wants to walk. They don't want to walk 10 feet to your candy. They want to drive their kids 10 feet, get up in the golf cart, go on, get 10 feet. So.
And most of our weekends, they're all gone.
Yeah.
Our 32 golf carts are gone,
We can use 50.
just about every weekend.
Even when it's like really rainy, because like last year,
Oh,
it
they
was such
still
a
run.
rainy summer.
Well, that's why,
So do you
you
do-
take the money right away. If you go to Hawaii and it rains, you're not getting your money back, you know?
But
So
then
if
if
it
they
rains,
cancel, are you gonna give them the money back for the golf cart?
it's the same as our reservation. If you cancel up to a week beforehand, it's only $10. If it's within the week, you get nothing back.
I've only had, I think maybe 5 people pre-reserved their golf carts. Most people came in, and I have them lined up right along the store for Friday night when they come in. And them are my people. They look at it and they go, let's just get that.
Right.
We don't have to, yeah, I don't have to walk.
Yeah.
So most of mine, there's only a few people that call ahead that want.
That's what I'd be worried about, and not, yeah, and not pre-reserving. Then people are like, oh, it's gonna rain this weekend, you know, and they didn't have one already reserved. Then they might not rent that off.
You know, if you have a slow-moving vehicle sign on the back of it, that can access or be on the roadway,
That's a gray area. You know, each township and each area is different.
because
You know,
ATVs by us, we have part of our campground, we have a road that goes up to our top section.
Yep.
And we cannot take our ATV or anything other than a tractor with a slow-moving sign up that road. And we've had wardens every time we put a four-wheeler on the road for 5 minutes.
See, a golf car isn't considered an ATV. You know, it is considered a slow-moving vehicle because it does not go over 25 miles an
And I
hour.
think it's kind of good.
So, you know, most of the places, like I said, it's a gray area. I mean, some officers, I'll be going down our county road by our house with a golf car, and then one cop will drive right by, and the next one will stop and say, "What are you doing?" You know, but like I said, each jurisdiction is a little bit different than the other one. Unfortunately, there is not a set thing one way or the other.
Can you get them with the brake lights too in the winter?
In the rental part, no, we don't offer that right now. I mean, if it's something that you do need, I would probably need a year's notice and then gear towards it a little bit, you know. Yeah. Yes, the majority of them do. There's some that don't, but the majority of them do. There's a few that don't have taillights on. I'm going to say maybe 30% don't, but the majority of them do. A lot of the 2 passengers don't have them on. Another service that we offer too is, say for instance, you have a big deal going on a weekend, and all of a sudden you have orders for 20 extra cars. What we can do is we can bring you in 24 passenger cars for the weekend, but we are going to charge you $55 a car per day for us bringing them in. You know, all it is more or less is a service for you taking care of your customer, and you would want to make doggone sure that they paid for it up front, because we're going to bill you no matter if you use them or not. Whatever you tell us you want, we're bringing there and we're going to drop them off. If it's in our off season when we're not real busy, a lot of times we will work with you. If we can bring some up there and you can guarantee us, okay, we can get our travel expense out of it, and if we can make a little bit of money if we rent them all, great. You know, and we will try to work with you on some of that stuff as well. Like I said, it's got to be good for both. You know, you have to make some money and we got to be able to make a little bit too, so otherwise it doesn't work.
Do you have a delivery fee for a certain radius that you deliver to within the state?
Yeah, it's going to vary depending. Within a 60-mile radius, there usually isn't any delivery fee. Over that, it's going to be on how many cart basis you get, you know. A lot of times those are not at campgrounds, they're not a moneymaker for us unless you keep them for 2 or 3 days. If you only keep them for 1 day, it's a break-even deal for us. You know, by the time we transport them there, we've got 2 round trips involved in it. By the time we pick them up, drop them off, come and get them, bring them back, we're not making a lot of money. But what it does is it helps you service your customers on the special weekends and things like that to get them taken care of and make it more enjoyable. Part of it then, though, too, is how many cars you want running around. You know, do you want an extra 20 running around in the campground or not? You know, so it gets quite hectic. We have 6-passenger and 8-passenger. We don't have 8-passenger. I think we only have about 7 of those. 6 passengers, we have between electric and gas, we've got about 30 of those. But those, if that's something you want, you really need to know ahead of time because they're out the majority of them.
Last year, you built this up really, really well. We have a boat race weekend at our campground, and they got an awesome tram that we'll have about 4,000 people in the park that day, and they have a tram that we rent from them, and that's running from our parking area, so it's staying out of the boat area.
Yeah.
And we just run them on the tram, but that thing was really working nice for us. So.
Yeah.
How many people did you put on it?
I think it was 21 or something.
Well, the vehicle held 6. You had that 4-wheel drive vehicle, right? The green one? Yep, that held 6 people, and then the tram will hold 12, but that's 3 in a seat, and they got to be not my size. So it's a little bit wider than what a golf car is, but you can get 3 in a seat, but 2 is comfortable. And there's 4 seats in. I don't know if we really had a set price on. Those are probably on the weekend. I'm going to say if we have to deliver it, you know, the delivery is going to be what's going to hit you on it, but probably about $100 a day, something like that on it. And if you want the cart, you know, you're going to be at about 150 with the utility cart in front of it. Otherwise, you can pull it with some of your stuff as well. And we don't have a lot of those trams, and a lot of times they're at Road America, they're the main user of them, and they use them every weekend, but if it's on an off weekend when they're not using them, that's when we lucked out with your stuff, that it was sometime when there was not a race there, and we were able to get them out of there and get them to you. But, you know, the 6 passengers are 2 forward-facing seats, 1 rear-facing seat. 8 passengers are 3 forward-facing seats and 1 rear-facing seat. 8 passengers are very oxy. The turning radius is not very good on them. You need a pretty big area to get turned around with them. They're like driving a school bus around. But
So for the people that are renting these out, again, are they all renting from you, the 4-passenger?
the majority of them, yes. 4-passenger are golf cars with boxes on or utility carts is what the majority of them are. Campgrounds very seldom do any of them. I don't think we do any 2-passengers on any of them. Unless it's for like a security type deal. And those carts we are, you know, if it's an electric cart and it's a newer club car, some of those we can speed up. They actually have got 4 speed settings on the club car. It's a handheld that we have to do it with. You can go anywhere from as low as, I think it's 6 to 8 miles an hour, and then 9 to 11, 11 to 13, and then 16 to 19 is the top speed. Those are all things that are adjustable. I know some of them we've put them on the 2nd speed setting, and then we just leave them there, and that's as fast as they go.
So like electric, are they all going to go 48 volts, or are they all going to keep bumping that up too?
Right now, the new wave is to the lithium part, yes, but that is
Come down in price?
no, not yet. Club car actually just started coming out with it. We're going to see the first cars in our territory this spring, and so far, all the stuff coming back is the charge time is great on them, but there's been a lot of wiring issues. So
They got all the bugs worked out of them?
no, to be honest with you, I'm not buying any for a year or 2. So, but they are, They are coming out. The nice thing about those is like I said, going to be the charge time. Batteries are supposed to last 8 years. They may even warranty them for 8 years. The fleet ones they are right now on the golf courses. So the charge time is only supposed to be like 3 to 4 hours instead of 8 to 12 hours. So that part will be very nice. You'll be able to recharge them a lot quicker than what you can with the lead acid batteries now. What's that?
I'll spend your little lithiums now.
The lithium battery pack, it only comes in a pack with the computer system and everything in, and it's a sealed unit. We can't even service any part of it as a dealer, and I believe it's like 2,500 bucks. But like I said, it's supposed to last 8 years. But then again, 2 sets of batteries will last you 8 years also, and that'll get you, you know, about 1,600 bucks. So $2,000. So yeah, I don't know that it's going to be. I would hope as the technology evolves, the price is going to come down. Yes, like everything. Anybody else have any questions on anything, or any for any of the group even questions that how people do things to give you ideas?
So I think you guys are talking about it as far as like the pre-rentals. So you say no, it's just when they come in.
I don't get many people.
Okay.
But the campground that I bought, this is our second year coming into it now. He never had golf carts, so it was.
So we never have either. So I just wonder if
it was a full-out crapshoot. The first 2 months I sat with the golf carts, but if I didn't have them sitting there, I wouldn't have got that exposure that, hey, there's golf carts, and I think I even gave free golf carts out on weekends. Hey, try this out.
Yeah.
You guys have been here a couple times, and those are the people that came back and
now they rent them.
They come, yeah. Now it's holy cow.
So the majority of those people, do they stay on your property, or are they going on a trail or a road system?
No, they're
pretty much just
they're all
staying
in the
in
campground.
campground. Okay, I didn't know if you had something.
I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so
Okay.
the only place they're going to is the tavern, and if I find that they went that far,
Have a chat.
yeah, I'll be talking to them. Better be bringing me something back.
That does bring a good question. How many allow them to drive them off of the property? No, anybody?
We were told by our Columbia County Sheriff's Department, if you get caught on the golf cart out on that road, and they stop you, you've been drinking, you're gonna get a DWI. It's that simple. So we warn everybody, you get out on that road, man.
No different than being in your vehicle. Yep. And that's where each jurisdiction is a little different, you
Well,
know.
plus our town has an ordinance on golf carts on any town road, which are entrances on town road.
Yeah.
So,
The village that we live in, they passed an ordinance where they made the village an ATV park, where you can drive golf cars and four-wheelers anywhere in the village. And you just have to get a permit through, actually it comes through us, but
Do you have to have a slow-moving vehicle sign on it?
yes, golf cars has to have headlights, taillights, and a slow-moving vehicle sign. They have to provide proof of insurance when they register it, and that's pretty much it. You know, we have to inspect them.
They'll let four-wheelers go 1 mile from wherever they're from. You know, if they live in town, they can drive it 1 mile, but they gotta have the lights, the tail lights on it, brake lights.
Yep.
do you lease to any, what we call end user, our customers, so we have seasonal customers that all have golf carts. Do you do any of that business?
As far as
You would lease one of your carts to one of our customers? So we allow-
only if you're a customer of ours, then we encourage them to go through you, and you can do it that way. Otherwise, if it's okay with you and you want us to do that, we will provide that service.
But you'd ask first.
Yes.
With our seasonal customers, I mean, we have 230-ish, and a lot of them have kids and her golf carts. I mean, we have a lot of golf carts on
Yeah.
the property.
Yeah. Yeah, we always try to, especially if we know where they're going and they're one of our customers, then we always try to say, hey, did you check with them if they have any available? You know, and then we'll try to call them and say, okay, are you okay with us renting for the season to this person or not? And if it's not, then we tell them they have to go there. So,
To tell you, if I was a seasonal one on a golf cart, I'd rent, at least at your pricing as opposed to buying one. Probably. I mean,
Right.
Maintenance nightmare.
yep.
especially electric.
Electric.
But yeah, to answer your question, yes, we would, if it's okay with you as the owner. Yes.
I would just recommend for any of you that are renting them out, to take a deposit on. They have to put a deposit down while the cart's in their possession. Even if you have them return it at the end of the day, have them put down, I think Bud has them put down like $100 deposit that they will get back at the end of their rental time, like on Sunday after the weekend is done, as long as there's no damages under the cart. It's helped us where people, they take that very seriously because they want that $50 or $100 back. So they do take better care of the cart.
Yeah, usually if there's a deposit on something, that does deter some of it. That's a very good idea.
Can you use a cart for trails too, or do you need a special suspension?
As far as four-wheeler trails,
No, just regular hiking trails, I guess the four-wheel trails.
yeah, I mean, any terrain, like a golf course, you have all different types of terrain. You know, a lot of times there's grass and stuff there. If there's a lot of roots and big holes, you know, it's not a good idea. But if it's fairly smooth, yeah, there's not an issue then.
Don't recommend it in beaches and sand areas.
Yes, especially depending on what kind of sand you have. They're not real good in sand. So, anybody have anything else?
Tough crowd, eh?
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's the lead time? Like when we say, do we just tell you a couple weeks in advance? Or?
Sooner the better, especially this time of year. You know, now we're getting everything ready and, you know, trying to get everything set to where it's going. If it's something you want to do, you know, let us know as soon as you can that you're even thinking about it, and then we can say, okay, we can kind of plan some different things and things like that. We did have quite a few big accounts come this spring all of a sudden now, with one with a 40-car one and one with a 50-car one, but then we have to quick try to figure out where we're going to get everything from now. But it should be, depending on whatever you need, we'll be able to take care of you. That's the best way to put it. 50 you want? Good. You got her. You bet. Thank you. I think there's some beer left in the corner, right? Anybody want some? Help yourselves.